So you do what you want with this, Joey. Do whatever you want. You know what? I don't like to make, and I don't try to make enemies, and I'm not going to consider you my enemy. You can consider me whatever you want. But I'm going to answer to this the first time I ever responded to anything like this, because you don't go off and say things about my father that are absolutely untrue. And once again, I'll say it and I'll leave you with this. You couldn't shine my father's shoes on his worst day.
I walk in redemption.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Sit Down with Michael Franzese. Hope everybody is doing well. All is very good, very blessed on this end. As always, I give God all the praise, honor, glory, and thanksgiving for that. And my friends, this is something a little out of the ordinary for me. I never do this, and most of you that follow me know that I never do this, but I felt that this was very appropriate. And something happened this morning that troubled me. And how did I find out about it? Well, by all of my supporters, many of you who contacted me to let me know about this. And so I investigated it. I did a little research because of what you told me, and I want to respond to it. And people, you know this, especially my followers who are so supportive, tell me, Michael, don't ever respond to any of this nonsense. And I don't. This is social media. By getting on this platform, you open yourself up to all sorts of stuff. There's a lot of things that go on. A lot of people talk. A lot of it is not true. A lot of it is exaggerated. A lot of it is made up. I just let it go. It's not important. And I've been able to build this platform because of all of you and all of my supporters. But I appreciate those of you who contacted me this morning about this, because kind of draw the line when they come after my family and they say things that are just absolutely not true. So let me tell you what happened. Joey Merlino, who a couple of months ago, whatever it might have been, decided to join the YouTube platform. When I heard about it, I spent 2-3 minutes and welcomed him aboard the platform and, said something nice about it. I don't recall exactly what it was, but basically welcomed him aboard the platform. Well, it's come to my attention today that a young man by the name of Justin sent a direct message, I believe, to Joey Merlino, and Joey took it upon himself to read it during his podcast recently. I think it was in the last day or so. And basically what this young man said was that he was my attorney and that, he thought it would be nice if Joey and I were to get together and he would come on my podcast for an interview. Now, let me make this clear. I haven't spoken to this young man for at least a year. I haven't communicated with him by text, email, social media, in any other way. He used to work for my wine company in Michigan, and that ended about 5 months ago. Nice young man, thought he was doing a nice thing, and look, people in that life understand. You try to get in somebody's good graces. Maybe, hey, Michael, you know what? I got in touch with Merlino. He wants to come on your platform, whatever. He thought he was doing a nice thing. He's not my attorney. Joey, for some reason, read this, thought it was appropriate to read this, and said that he was my attorney representing me. And in there, he said that it would be nice if he came onto my platform. Obviously, this young man was mistaken because he thought he was sending this to somebody with class. Obviously, that's not the case. Now, Joey took it upon himself to call me a rat, which is okay. I've heard all of that. I've explained there's nothing more to talk about that. Call me whatever you want in that regard. But then he went on to talk about my father. And what he said about my father is this. He said, for Sonny Franzese to associate with his son, because he said that I paid my father's bail, I picked him up when he came out of prison, that my father, Sonny Franzese, must be a rat also. Now let me tell you this, Mr. Merlino, you couldn't shine my father's shoes on his worst day. My father was one of the most stand-up guys ever in that life, and everybody knows it, even every one of your associates, and you know it also. So what you said was so totally out of line. And you know what? You would never in a million years say that to my father's face. Of course we know that. I don't think you'd say it to my face. And if you want to, just let me know. I'm here, not going anywhere. Okay, but to call my father a rat, my father associated with me because maybe he knows more about my situation than you do. Maybe the Colombo brass, the people that mattered, know a little bit more about what I did or what I didn't do than you do. But you feel it appropriate just to shoot your mouth off and call people names. Like what you say about me, I could care less. You don't mean anything to me. But what you said about my father, who are you kidding? My father, again, was the most stand-up guy in that life. Took 50 years on the chin and never opened his mouth about anything, and everybody knows that. So who are you to say something like that? Really? And let me tell you something. If my father had something to say to you, he wouldn't be saying it to a bunch of people on social media. He would say it directly to your face, as I would. Absolutely. So I don't know where you're coming from. And like I said, I don't know this young man, and he sent you a following DM. Why don't you read that? Read that. And let me tell you something also. Don't flatter yourself, my friend. I don't need you on social media. Maybe you haven't been paying attention to what's going on. I don't need you. I wished you luck when you came on board. I didn't realize you were a classless guy. I thought you were a guy with class. And let me ask you this. If you still are involved, and I have no idea, nor do I care, what are you doing on social media? You wouldn't see my father on social media. You wouldn't see me on social media if I was still part of that life. What are you doing on social media? Answer me that. Never do I ever respond to any of this stuff, because obviously, too, there are other people, that immediately picked up on what you said this morning, and, Joey Merlino smacked me down and all of that. You're not smacking me down when you're talking on social media, Joey. You know that, and I know that. And let me tell you about Sammy Gravano. He's my friend, like it or not. I'm not interested in what he did before. I like Sammy now, I like his family, and I don't care who knows it or who disagrees with it. That's how I feel. Whatever happened before, none of my business. Didn't involve me, and that's it. I don't appreciate the fact that guys get on social media and they start talking about everybody, and other people just can't wait to bring other people down. They jump on it like it's oxygen. It's unbelievable. It really is. And you know what? It's quite pathetic, because if you got nothing good to say about yourself, if you can't bring yourself up and make something out of this platform on your own merit, you probably even shouldn't be on here. If you got to use other people to make yourself important, shouldn't be on here. I don't come on here and talk about other people negatively, because that doesn't prop me up. It doesn't make me feel good. Doesn't do anything for me. So let me just leave you with this, Joey. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Okay? I'm not impressed with you. I'm not interested in your talk. But let me tell you something. Before you make remarks about my father, know what you're talking about. Really. Because if you still are on the street, there's going to be people that are pretty much offended by that. Nobody can say a disparaging word about my father as far as him being a stand-up guy. And let me respond again. If my father was close to me afterwards, and he was, despite all the nonsense that's going on out there, then maybe he knows something that you and everybody else don't. Maybe the Colombo Brass, my former family, maybe they knew something about what I did or didn't do that you don't, and that the rest of the world don't, and I don't have to tell anybody. It's nobody's business what went on between me and my father and the brass in the Colombo family during that time. I'm going to leave it at that. So you do what you want with this, Joey. Do whatever you want. You know what? I don't like to make, and I don't try to make enemies, and I'm not going to consider you my enemy. You can consider me whatever you want. But I'm going to answer to this the first time I ever responded to anything like this, because you don't go off and say things about my father that are absolutely untrue. And once again, I'll say it and I'll leave it with this. You couldn't shine my father's shoes on his worst day. Take care, everybody. And for all my supporters, I really want to thank you. So many people come to me, Michael, don't respond to any of this. And people, I don't. What I put up there is factual, and I tell anybody, come after me. Don't take excerpts out of little things and read it and try to blow it up. Don't try to make believe you're some kind of investigative reporter and all of a sudden you know anything. And I have no shame for anything that I've done. None whatsoever. It's way in my past. It's 25 years ago. The facts are what they are. You can try to twist them. You can try to do everything. And just I want to leave it with this. I'm going to be speaking to a guy by the name of Joseph Spinelli. Joseph Spinelli headed up the Crown Royal boxing undercover investigation, of which I was the target, myself and Don King. There's been stuff said about that that's totally false, totally untrue, and the information to prove that is available to anybody if they wanted to look. But they didn't. They just made disparaging remarks, said things that were totally untrue, and that's what happens all the time. So after I speak with Joe Spinelli and you hear the truth, he will invite you to talk to him also. I was the target of that undercover operation. I didn't wire myself. I was wired against. I didn't bring anybody unknowingly into set up Don King. Okay? Not at all. So whoever is making that story up, you're making it up. So that's it, but we're going to clear all of this stuff up. But this was important to me. So Joey Merlino, you heard it directly from me, not from anywhere else, okay? And I challenge you to read what that young man sent you afterwards. And if you're a man and you got some class, you'll do that. Take care. How do I always leave everybody? The same way. Be safe, be healthy. God bless each and every one of you. And yes, I'll see you next time. Take care.
I walk down the darker road. I walk in redemption.